somebody already does quite often. But basically, I'm focusing on how I've been using AI, specifically ChatGPT, to save me time in certain tasks. All right, so my favorite one is when I'm doing some restructuring of data, so I can recode without having to do any manual typing. And this is an example of my prompt where I got all the unique levels of a particular factor variable in R, and then I literally just copied that R output, giving all those unique levels, and asked ChatGPT to find a way to, or just decide on how best to combine multiple of these categories into 4. I didn't want 16 different unique categories. I wanted it to group it into 4 similar categories. So one, and then I wanted it to give me the R code for it, so I didn't have to worry about doing that manually. So one, I didn't have to try and decide on how best to group these, and these are different types or sizes of vehicles. So I didn't have to decide on that, and then I didn't have to worry about the coding. And it did it quite perfectly for me. So this was the output. It just created sort of 4 categories: compact cars, SUVs, vans, and then utility or other. So that's one of my tricks that I use fairly regularly. Then another one is when I'm setting assessments. So I'm teaching a 3rd year biostats module. So we do a lot of chi-squared tests, a lot of test of association, even expanding it to stratified analyses. And sometimes I want to test the students' ability to interpret the results based on whether we reject or do not reject. So it's not, I don't always want them to conclude rejection, or I don't always want them to conclude do not reject. So I use ChatGPT where I just give it maybe an example or some sample data. And this is copying straight from a table in Word. So you can see that the table doesn't quite come out, but ChatGPT is able to distinguish where these counts sort of correspond. And then I asked it specifically if I'm stratifying by one of the particular variables to create a two-way table, then to give me cell counts such that there are significant associations between all two-way combinations of these 3 variables. And it produced that really easily for me. So again, I don't have to think about it. I don't have to try and manipulate the data or go from a raw data set and then aggregate it into a table for the assessment, but I just get the counts based on the results that I'm requiring. And I do this quite a lot. So if I'm wanting a specific output or a specific outcome, I ask it to generate the data for me. Then this is something I did this morning. I was setting an assessment. None of my students are in here. Anyway, I'm setting an assessment, and I was just preparing the solutions. So I have a Kaplan-Meier. I wanted to generate a Kaplan-Meier survival curve, but I don't want to go into the software and code it myself. I don't want to even open up any software currently. I've just been trying to finish setting assessments. And I didn't want to draw this by hand because this is the solution. My students will be drawing it by hand, but I just wanted to put in the figure there without me having to think about it or draw it. So again, I just gave it the prompt and then I get out what I'm asking for. Obviously, I did have to check it. So what had happened is that it didn't identify that there were 2 events that occurred at time 9. So I always have to double check that what it's outputting is obviously in line with what I expect. So yeah, we do know that it's not 100% correct. And then when I'm an external examiner for exams or even for my colleagues, so this is an example where my colleague prepared an MCQ exam She had done the solutions for it and then obviously wanted me to then go ahead and verify that those solutions were correct. So I submitted that whole Word document of the questions and with all the 5 multiple choice options, and then asked it to give me the correct option. Then from there, the first thing it actually did was show me the calculations, which was fine, but I wanted to come straight down to the letters to see if they corresponded to that of my colleagues, and also just always ensuring that there is a solution there, because often we creating MCQ solutions and maybe there's an error that's happened somewhere along the line and we end up not having the answer in one of the options. So this is just much quicker to do rather than me now having to do, and this is actually 32 questions, sit there and work out 32 questions. And in the case that the solutions don't line up with that of my colleagues, then I will go and work that out by hand or check ChatGPT's way of doing it. So those are really time-saving measures that I very often use. And in addition to this, I obviously use it to set assessments. I use it to give me the solutions for my assessments. Obviously, taking what it does and then just customizing and editing it according to my preference. And then one thing that I've just recently learned, I don't use Gemini or ChatGPT for personal things very often, maybe rephrasing things, and that's about it. But something I've just recently learned is using Gemini to basically get it to interact or manage information from all your other Google apps on your phone or even on your computer by tagging those apps. So when I was in Amsterdam, I used Gemini for this prompt where I tagged Google Maps and I asked it to find something for us to do within 30 minutes of walking distance of our location under €10. Needless to say, there wasn't a lot because Amsterdam is very expensive, but it managed to give me some suggestions of different areas to explore. And then in addition to the name of the place or where we could go and what we could do there, it also then gave me the map of where it is. And basically I could click on this map. It opens up in Google Maps and then it would show me obviously how to get there. So that was very useful, much quicker than taking this name here and then going into Google Maps myself and trying to locate it. And we can actually use various different Google apps in the same manner by just, and this is obviously any Google app that is connected to your Google account that you're using Gemini for. And that's just done by using the @ symbol, obviously, to tag the application. And these are just some examples of how you can use Gemini and tag certain apps just to manage or retrieve different bits of information. So an exciting one, which I think I'm going to try and implement, is the Google Calendar one, because I have so much in my calendar. And then also Gmail, just summarizing emails, or I haven't tried that. Maybe we could also have a look at if it's able to decipher between spam or not spam. And that actually just concludes me. Short and sweet, main things that I had to sort of add on compared to what I've already said.